Hey folks, before we get into the video here, I want to let you know that this is my longest one yet today. So sit back, get some coffee, maybe a pen and paper, enjoy the show, get ready to get to work afterwards because we're going to have a quick, relevant ninja history lesson on the 18 skills of the ninja and how I apply the principles from the 18 skills to my own 18 skills that are relevant to my situation, and some ideas of how they might be relevant to your situation and preparing for whatever might come our way. So, my plan with the videos for the future here is to go a bit deeper into each of the topics that we go over. Um, and I'd like to know if people would like more frequent, shorter videos across a broader spectrum of topics, or would we like fewer but longer, more immersive videos that go deeper into each individual topic at one time? Help me out. Let me know in the comments section down below. Like, subscribe, share, tap the bell. It helps the YouTube algorithm and should help get more people to see the content. I'd also have to apologize. This is the first time I'm using a script, so if it's a little awkward, I'm still learning, and bear with me. So, hope you enjoy, and let me know how it goes. Son of a bitch. I was doing pretty good until. Ninjas. That's right, ninjas. There is some historic warrior mystic survivalist preppers of epic proportions. They're ready for anything, anytime, anywhere. Historical documents, as well as oral tradition, tell us that the famed men of Iga, or shinobi, more commonly known in the modern era as ninja, had a collection of skills, 18 of them in fact, that were acquired basis of knowledge that they would need to not just survive a mission in a hostile area, but more importantly, get home in one piece with their information. The original 18 skills of the ninja consisted of personal and spiritual refinement, unarmed combat, sword combat, stick and staff combat, throwing blades, spear fighting, halberd fighting, chain and sickle fighting, pyrotechnics, disguise and impersonation, stealth and entering methods, horsemanship, water training, strategy tactics, espionage, escape and concealment, meteorology, geography, and I've also seen falconry on someone's list too, which as it being proficient with handling a pet falcon. I think the closest I'm going to get on that one's my small flock of chickens. So, the point of these skills were not only to be able to survive, but if you learn and practice them well, the skill set would give you the opportunity to thrive in otherwise challenging situations. So obviously, though, some of these ninja skills are a bit outdated and mostly inapplicable to you and your situation and us in our modern day. But the spirit of these skills is definitely relevant to all of us, whether you're a retail clerk in the suburbs, a computer coder in the city, or a rancher in the mountains. We need to adapt the concept and build our own personalized list of 18 skills of the modern prepper ninja. In this increasingly interesting world we live in, Americans need a contingency plan. In fact, all citizens of the world need a plan. But we have a wide spectrum of skills that we need to be able to mitigate the situations from natural disasters like forest fires, hurricanes, volcanoes, tornadoes, and earthquakes to infrastructure problems like power or gas outages, suspicious 911 and cell phone service outages, closed roads, supply chain breakdowns, mostly peaceful protests, alien invasion, zombie apocalypse, who knows. The skills in this list are the sort that require two things to accomplish. First is training. You gotta get training by someone who's an expert in the field, someone who knows what they're doing. In some of these skills, some of them are more benign and some of them could be quite dangerous if you don't have some expert advice. The second is lots of humble practice, keeping in mind the Dunning-Kruger effect in that usually when we we start working on something, we think we know a lot more than we do, and as time goes on, we kind of realize we didn't know as much as we thought we did. There's also the far end of this thing where it's you get to know so much about a thing that you forget how much you know, and you don't realize how much other people don't know about some things. Now, the 18 skills in Spirit are based on survival and self-reliance, at least my 18 skills, right? A lot of joy can come from being able to take care of yourself, and not to mention it's fun and fulfilling to learn and polish valuable life skills. My personal modern 18 skills, given my living and family and work situation, geographical location, and given the fact that aside from being a family man first and foremost, I'm a lifelong martial artist, a student, and a nerd to the core, so forgive me if my personal 18 skills slant a bit more towards the self-defense side. I did take the inspiration for this from the ninja after all, so what are you going to do? So, skill number 1. I'm keeping this one from the original list. It's personal and spiritual refinement. This is essential. Heart and mind training. Read some books. Philosophy, poetry, classical and modern literary classics, religious texts, and the more the better. Texts from other religions can help you understand other humans better. Meditation, breathing, self-reflection, go to church, practice love and compassion for your family and self, connection with nature, go on a hike, whatever it is that does it for you. And not to sound too much like a hippie, but I'd say we can all agree that peace, love, and happiness are preferred states of being. So get some training on this. Find a guru, right? Practice these skills. Although peace and contentment is the preferred state of existence, sometimes some bad actors come in and want to put a serious harsh on your mellow. Sometimes you might need a bit of violence in your back pocket to end a bit of unwelcome violence thrown your way. So, for my skill number 2, I'm keeping this one from the first list, but I'm adapting a little bit to armed and unarmed self-defense. So for true self-defense scenarios, not public parking lot ego contest outside the pub with 2 willing combatants, because if you're doing skill number 1 right, you won't even get into that kind of problem. You need to have a well-rounded game, right? You never know what kind of attack you're going to get, or where, or with what, and by whom, and what weather, and what ground surface, and what footwear and clothing. You get the idea. You need a striking game, stand-up, grappling, wrestling, solid ground defense. These are all necessary pieces to the puzzle. Another thing to think of is defense of others, right? Maybe you're out with some family, friends, your kids, grandma. Maybe you're walking, maybe you're in the car. Maybe you took a wrong turn somewhere and wound up somewhere you shouldn't be, in the middle of a protest or something, right? As scenarios change, your responses will change. So these are just some thoughts. Get some training, practice often. On the less lethal weapons side of things, blades and sticks, in a true self-defense scenario, it's always safer to assume that your attacker has at least a blade at a minimum. I'm going to go deeper on some of the self-defense stuff in some later videos, but for the short and sweet version, the best knife defense is don't be there. Just get the heck out, run. If you're cornered and you're going hands-on is your only option, there are a few ideas and skills that can maybe get you out alive, if not perforated. The most important thing is to get out less bloody than the other guy. Get some training, practice often, right? Do yourself a favor and learn some stick fighting. The world is filled with many stick-like things, so it's not a bad idea to be comfortable using one as an improvised or planned self-defense tool. A broom, a mop, umbrella, a cane, a ski pole, you get the drift. Get some training and practice often. So also in this increasingly long category of number 2, we have pew-pew safety and basic competence, right? It's become more and more important recently to own a pew-pew. And if you do own one, especially if you're one of the 5 million new firearm owners this year, it's definitely important to learn the general safety basics, and those in particular of your particular tool or tools. Even if you don't own any ballistic self-defense devices, it's not a bad idea to be familiar with them. Whether you're in the countryside and the rutting bull moose are your most direct and serious personal threat, like I've got around here, or you're in the city in a neighborhood known for some invasions or gang violence, right? Get to know your pistols, revolvers, rifles, shotguns, and hopefully the skill won't have to come in handy someday. Get some training and practice often. Be safe. A note on the weapons and empty-handed fighting. Aside from survival, there are also legal and moral concerns to consider. Know your local, state, and federal laws on self-defense. Some states have a strong stand-your-ground law. Some states mandate a duty to retreat. Know what self-defense tools you may legally carry in your state and county and municipality, and make sure your self-defense responses are appropriate to the threat. The mostly harmless drunk uncle gets a different treatment than the armed mugger, and get carry insurance if you do have a firearm. I use USCCA, but there are a bunch of great ones out there. All right, so skill number 3. I think this one and a few others aren't on the list, the original list, because back when it was created, these things were common skills, and for all humans, really, and especially for a ninja, were taken for granted. So skill number 3 I have is fitness, right? If you work diligently at skill number 2, the self-defense training, this one should be a little bit easier because that's going to get some of your workout in. But make no mistake, if you're doing it right, keeping fit is not easy. It takes hard work, commitment, dedication. You need to be able to go for a run when the last thing you want to do is go for a run. In fact, I feel bad. I haven't run in a few days. All right. So don't forget weights, resistance training, mobility, flexibility. If you don't have any equipment, body weight training can be incredible by itself. Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, dips, mountain climbers, front, back goes. Military folks know I'm going to talk about it. It's great to be armed to the teeth, but if you can't run more than 25 yards with your full kit on, you might be mismanaging your efforts. All right, skill number 4, nutrition, diet, right? There are all kinds of fad diets, and you just can't go wrong with real food, right? If you focus on your good meats, fruits, veggies, less preservatives and additives, the better. Keep the sugar out of the diet. The closer you can get to your source of food, the better. Ideally, you want to be able to get to a point where you can grow all your own food, and it might not be realistic for everyone, but every step closer you get is a win. Don't forget supplements, vitamins, and minerals, especially immune system boosters like vitamin D and zinc. Don't forget to hydrate. This human machine needs to be well hydrated and properly fueled to operate at optimal fitness. Skill number 5, hunting and fishing. Whether by firearms, primitive projectiles, traps, hooks, lines, bare hands, being able to obtain protein in a survival situation can be the difference between life and death, especially in places with a deep winter where for 6 months or more of the year, the only wild food source is from animals, because there's nothing growing out of the ground unless you want to eat some grass maybe that you can find, pine needles. But you have to not only be able to catch your food, but you have to be able to kill it and strip it and clean it and be able to do the entire process. So get some training, practice often. Skill number 6, food sourcing. Harvesting, the gatherer part of the hunter-gatherer skill set. Get familiar with the local seasonable wild edibles like berries, fruits, mushrooms, what they look like, when to harvest, how to prepare them. Also find out what not to eat. Super important. The consequences of, say, picking the wrong kind of mushroom, leaf, or tuber can be pretty dire. Gardening is included in this. Learn how to grow food. There aren't many excuses to not plan and plant an edible garden, right? If you don't have adequate space outdoors for growing, say you live in an apartment, there are lots of creative and high-tech ways to use indoor space for growing, even low-tech ways. Tubers, vegetables, vine fruits, herbs, beans, leafy greens, whatever you like, make sure to get a good mix of nutrients. Get some training on this stuff, and practice often. Recurring theme here, huh? Number 7, make fire. The more primitively you can do it, the better. Try different conditions and weather. Getting a fire going in an Arizona pine forest in August is going to be different than getting a fire going at 12,000 feet above sea level in the Rockies in February with 6 feet of snow on the ground. Learn how to use fire to heat food. Grill stone, Yukon stove, charcoals, modern devices like metal grills and aluminum foil. Get training on this stuff. There are people that are experts at this, right? Practice these skills often. Number 8 on my list, learn to cook, like for real. Go get some cookbooks and watch Food Network. Experiment, you might surprise yourself. You might also burn dinner. Either way, it's a learning experience. Restaurants have been closed forever, so what are you waiting for? Seriously, go get some training in cooking and practice often. Number 9, be able to source water and purify it. Consider fresh water sourcing in Flint, Michigan versus freshwater sourcing in the Sonoran Desert in Arizona or Colorado's frozen tundra. Again, practice this skill set for your environment and potential circumstances. Get training, practice often. Number 10 on my list, build shelter. It'll look different depending on your geography. Maybe a log and leaf lean-to in Maine, or maybe it's an elevated platform in the bayou or a snow cave in Montana. Maybe a scrap material shanty in the concrete jungle. But whatever way, get some training, practice often. Skill number 11 on my list, basic maintenance and auto repair. This is a big one for me. I think that everyone that drives an automobile should know a few basic things about maintaining and fixing their vehicle. At least know what normal sounds like and looks like under your hood. Know how to check and fill fluids. Know how to change a tire. Buy a hard copy of the old school Chilton or Hayes repair manuals at the auto parts store. Read it and use it. Have a small emergency repair kit, including spare fluids, leak stop, the tow strap, jumper cables, tools, flares, a spare headlight and turn signal bulbs, sleeping bag, emergency food, blender, espresso machine, hot tub, all the essentials for a car. Also, it's a good idea to have some basic plumbing and carpentry skills, electrician skills. These things can go a long way. We should all be able to strive to repair the things we use on a daily basis. You can not only save money and time, but it's kind of fun to be able to just take care of yourself. Skill number 12 on my list. This one's definitely going to be more unique to me than a lot of people in the country. I live up in the high Rockies, but for me, skill number 12 is skiing as a method of winter transportation. You can see my transport over here. Sometimes the roads can be closed and you might need to get to the grocery store. You've got to haul a bunch of stuff, or maybe you just took a deer in to feed your family and there's 3 feet of snow on the ground and dragging it by foot's out of the question. Did you ever try going for a walk or a run when the snow is up to your nether regions? In my environment, skiing as a transportation method is a valuable skill in a pinch and a lot of fun. So it's on my list. Might not be as applicable for folks in Florida, but it's my list, and so maybe folks in the folks in the warmer climates can substitute kayaking or bicycle packing or something like that, right? Whatever it is, figure out what your need is, get some training, practice often at it. Right, number 13. Shouldn't have taken me this long to put this one on the list. It really should have been first, but first aid. I think every human should be trained to at least something close to EMT level of education on first aid, CPR, and other common life-saving procedures. Make sure you're well stocked on equipment and medicine, but keep in mind medicine has expiration dates too. So check the dates, rotate, make sure you use the old stuff first and dispose of it safely if it's expired. Get lots of training, practice these skills often. You can usually pick up an EMT class through your local first aid service. Number 14 on my list, also, living in the mountains, something important for me is meteorology. So it's not very hard up here to be a long way from shelter, and weather changes super fast. You know, they have a saying in Colorado, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. So have the skills to be your own weatherman, weatherwoman. I know this is also similar. I've lived at the coast before too, and you've got similar situations out there, especially if you go out on the water. Be able to look at the sky, make a good decision on whether or not to bring your sun visor or your rain gear or your scarf, gloves, and heavy parka. And if you live up by me, you might need all that stuff in the course of an hour. And you know, if you like to go skiing like I do, it's really important to go check the avalanche report, know how to read it, know what it means, and how to apply it, and use your investigative eyes to make sure you're staying in safe territory. Definitely get training on this. Practice your skills often. Number 15 on my list is computers and tech. Usage, repair, coding, 3D printing. The more you know and can do with technology, the more you can do with technology. Right, so you should at least be able to do some basic troubleshooting on your devices, aside from being able to get on the internet and work your email. Be able to troubleshoot your devices, your network. Be a little savvy with some network security, especially these days. VPNs, firewalls, antivirus software. Tech is getting crazy, so keeping up is important. Number 16 on my list is comms. Radios, ham radios, CB radios, satellite communications, etc. It's more important than people realize. You know, we recently had the Christmas explosion in Nashville that took out cell communications for quite some time, and people are using backup communication devices. 911 wasn't available for a while either, so having a backup way to be able to get in touch with your family, friends, or support group can be really crucial. Number 17 on my list is be a damn good driver. Practice safe driving in hazardous conditions and keep yourself out of trouble. Test your vehicle and your driving skills in safe environments where you're not going to hurt anybody or break any laws. Something like a large empty parking lot or a field that, some in various weather conditions, dry, muddy, snowy. Know what it feels like to lose traction, lose control of the car, skid out, and be able to recover it, right? It can be scary at first when you're not used to what happens, but when you get used to controlling a car that skids, it's not that bad. You know, we do a lot of driving in snow and ice up here for a good half of the year, and you can get pretty darn good at it after a while. So, but you've got to learn safely. That's the most important part. Don't be practicing going down the highway, spinning off, crashing into people. All right, skill number 18 on my list is map and compass. All right, have some maps of your local surrounding areas. Be able to use them to find yourself and find where you're trying to go. GPS and Google Maps aren't always necessarily going to be there when you need them, and having a backup navigation method is extremely important. Having a quality compass, being able to use it are very valuable. Using maps for navigating established roads is one thing, but using them to navigate in the wilderness is something completely different. So make sure you learn from some competent sources on this, right? There are lots of great videos, but you've got to get out there. But get out there with somebody that if you get lost because you're not very good at this, that they can help you get back home, right? Bonus points if you can use your map and compass to do a point triangulation of your location and transmit the coordinates on your ham radio to call on a rescue bird. The ninja we're on the right track, but the world has changed, so we've got to adapt to the times. You know, how does your environment and situation change your personal 18 skills is something I'd like you to think about. Maybe your list includes swimming, bike riding, urban foraging and shelter, train hopping, horsemanship, electrical engineering, basket weaving, whatever it is. My point is that start thinking about what your list is and start working on those skills. Write them down, figure out what you need most help with, and go get the training. Go start working on it. Get on it. Each of the topics I have on my list, I'm going to flesh out a little bit further in some future videos. So be sure to stick around, hit like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications, and you know, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you have a request for any one of these things you want to see down below, or maybe there's something that didn't make the list that you're looking forward to and you want to see how I do it, hit me up in the comments and we'll work on it. See you guys soon.